Supply chapter. Supply chapter. Introduction. A taxable event is any transaction or occurrence that results in a tax consequence. Before levying any tax, a taxable event needs to be ascertained. It is foundation stone of any taxation system. It determines the point at which a tax would be levied. Under the earlier indirect tax regime, the framework of taxable event in various statutes was prone to catena of interpretation resulting in litigation since decades. The controversies largely related to issues like whether a particular process amounted to manufacture or not, whether the sale was a predetermined sale, whether a particular transaction was a sale of goods or rental of services, etc. अगर आपको बाइफर्केशन करना है एनी ट्रांजेक्शन, वेदर इट इज गुड्स और वेदर इट इज सर्विसेज ट्रांजेक्शन, तो आपको उसके लिए पहले ये चैप्टर सप्लाई अंडर जीएसटी चैप्टर पूरा डिटेल में देखना पड़ेगा. इसकी प्रोविजंस क्या है और क्या नहीं है, ये सब देखना पड़ेगा. उसके बाद ही आप उसका बाइफर्केशन कर सकते हैं. द जीएसटी वाज रिजॉल्व दीज इश्यूज बाय laying down the one comprehensive taxable event, that is supply of goods or services or both. Various taxable events, namely manufacture, sale, rendering of services, purchase, entry into a territory of states, etc., have been done away with in favor of just one event, that is the supply. Okay, GST law by levying tax on the supply of goods and obligor services departs from the historically understood concepts of taxable event under the state VAT laws, excise laws and सर्विस टैक्स लॉज. अभी ये एक्साइज लॉज एबोलिश हो गया है. एक्साइज लॉ, वैट लॉ, सर्विस टैक्स लॉ वगैरह जीएसटी आने के बाद सब एबोलिश हो गया है. सेल एग्जांपल सेल, मैन्युफैक्चर एंड सर्विस रिस्पेक्टिवली इन द जीएसटी regime. बट इन जीएसटी में क्या हो गया है, द इंटायर वैल्यू ऑफ द सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स एंड ऑब्लिगर सर्विसेज इज टैक्स्ड इन an integrated manner, unlike the earlier indirect taxes, which were charged independently either on the manufacture or sale of goods or on the provision of services. रिलेवेंट डेफिनेशंस वगैरह देखना पड़ेगा. गुड्स के लिए क्या डेफिनेशन बोला है, मीन्स एवरी काइंड ऑफ मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी अदर देन द मनी एंड सिक्योरिटीज बट इंक्लूड्स एक्शनेबल क्लेम्स, ग्रोइंग क्रॉप्स, ग्रास एंड थिंग्स अटैच्ड टू और फॉर्मिंग पार्ट ऑफ द लैंड व्हिच आर एग्रीड टू बी severed before supply or under a contract of supply. Competent authority क्या रहती है, means such authority as may be notified by the government. Next है family. Family means what? Family means the spouse and children of the person and the parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters of the person if they are wholly or mainly dependent on the said person. ओके, फैमिली यानी कि स्पाउस होगा, उसमें चिल्ड्रंस और चिल्ड्रन ऑफ द पर्सन, ये फैमिली में आ जाएंगे. बट पेरेंट्स, ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स, ब्रदर्स, सिस्टर्स ऑफ द पर्सन इफ दे आर होली एंड मेनली डिपेंडेंट होंगे तो ही वो फैमिली में आ सकते हैं, नहीं तो फैमिली के डेफिनेशन में नहीं लिया जाएगा वो, अगर वो डिपेंडेंट है तो. नेक्स्ट है गवर्नमेंट मीन्स द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. नेक्स्ट है लोकल अथॉरिटी मीन्स पंचायत, म्यूनिसिपैलिटी, म्यूनिसिपल कमेटी, जिला परिषद, कंटोनमेंट बोर्ड, रीजनल काउंसिल, डेवलपमेंट बोर्ड, रीजनल काउंसिल कॉन्स्टिट्यूटेड, ये सब गवर्नमेंट लोकल अथॉरिटी में आ जाएगा. नेक्स्ट है बिजनेस किसको बोलते हैं, बिजनेस इंक्लूड्स any trade, commerce, manufacture, profession, vacation, adventure, wager or any other similar activity, whether or not it is for the pecuniary benefit है या नहीं है, वो बिजनेस में आ जाएगा. सेकंड पॉइंट है बिजनेस में एनी एक्टिविटी और ट्रांजेक्शन इन कनेक्शन विथ और इंसिडेंटल और एंसिलरी टू ए अबव, इसमें तो वो भी आ जाएगा. सी पॉइंट है एनी एक्टिविटी और ट्रांजेक्शन इन द नेचर ऑफ ए अबव वेदर और नॉट देयर इज अ वॉल्यूम, फ्रीक्वेंसी, कंटिन्यूटी और रेगुलरिटी ऑफ सच ए ट्रांजेक्शन. डी पॉइंट है सप्लाई और एक्विजिशन ऑफ गुड्स इंक्लूडिंग कैपिटल असेट्स एंड सर्विसेज इन कनेक्शन विथ कमेंसमेंट और क्लोजर ऑफ अ बिजनेस. ई पॉइंट है प्रोविजन बाय अ क्लब, association, society or any such a body for subscription or any other consideration of the facilities or benefits to its members as the case may be. F point है admission. F point है admission for a consideration of a person to any premises, and G point है services supplied by a person as the holder of an office which has been accepted by him in the course or furtherance of his trade, profession or vacation. H point है activities of a race club including by way of a total star or a license to book maker or activities of a licensed bookmaker in such a club or any activity or transaction undertaken by the central government or state government or any local authority in which they are engaged as a public authority. ये सब क्या होगा, बिजनेस में इंक्लूड किया जाएगा. नेक्स्ट वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट डेफिनेशन इज कंसिडरेशन. कंसिडरेशन सेक्शन 2 सबसेक्शन 17 में सीजीएसटी एक्ट में डिफाइन किया गया है कि कंसिडरेशन को कैसे डिफाइन किया है, कंसिडरेशन किसको बोलना है और किसको नहीं बोलना है, को क्या इंक्लूड होता है क्या इंक्लूड नहीं होता है, ये देखेंगे. इन रिलेशन टू द सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स और सर्विसेज और बोथ includes any payment made or to be made whether in money or otherwise in respect of or in response to or for the inducement of a supply of goods or services or both whether by the recipient or by any other person but shall not include any subsidy given by the central government or a state government. Okay, the monetary value of any act or a forbearance in respect of in response to or for the inducement of the supply of goods or services or both whether by the recipient or by any other person but shall not include any subsidy given by the central government or state government. However, a deposit given in the respect of the supply of goods or services or both shall not be considered as a payment made for such a supply and then the supplier applies such a deposit as a consideration for the said supply. Okay, next है actionable claims. Actionable claims यानी क्या? Means a claim to any doubt, any debt or other than debt secured by mortgage of a immovable property or by hypothecation or a pledge of a movable property or to any beneficial interest in movable property not in the possession either actual or constructive of the claimant, which the civil courts recognizes as affording grounds for relief, whether such a debt or a beneficial interest be existent accruing conditional. Whether such a debt or beneficial interest be existent, accruing, conditional or contingent. Okay, next manufacturer. Manufacturer means processing of a raw material or inputs in any manner that results in emergence of a new product having a distinct name, character and use, and the term manufacturer shall be construed accordingly. Next है money point. Money means the Indian legal tender or any foreign currency, check, promissory note, bill of exchange, letter of credit, draft, pay order, traveler check, money order, postal or electronic remittance or any other instrument recognized by the Reserve Bank of India when used as a consideration to settle an obligation or exchange with Indian legal contender of another denomination but shall not include any currency that is held for its numismatic value. Next है taxable supply. Taxable supply means the supply of goods or services or both which is leviable to tax under this act. Okay, next है taxable territory. Taxable territory means the territory to which the provisions of this act apply. Next, services. Services की definition क्या बोली गई है? Services means anything other than the goods, money and securities, but includes activities relating to the use of money or its conversion by cash or by any other mode from one form, currency or a denomination to another form, currency or a denomination for which a separate consideration is charged. Okay. नेक्स्ट डेफिनेशन है सप्लायर. सप्लायर जीएसटी में सप्लायर किसको बोलना है, क्या नहीं बोलना है, ये सब बोला गया है, ये सब प्रोविजन डिफाइन की गई है. सप्लायर इन रिलेशन टू एनी गुड्स और सर्विसेज और बोथ शैल मीन द पर्सन सप्लाइंग द सेड गुड्स और सर्विसेज और बोथ एंड शैल इंक्लूड an agent acting as such on behalf of such a supplier in relation to the goods or services or both supplied. नेक्स्ट है पर्सन की डेफिनेशन में कौन कौन आता है जीएसटी के सेक्शन पर्सन की डेफिनेशन में एज पर सेक्शन 2 सबसेक्शन 84 ऑफ द सीजीएसटी एक्ट. पर्सन इंक्लूड्स individual, HUF, company, a firm, limited liability partnership, association of persons, any corporation, any body corporate, any cooperative society, local authority, central government or state government, society, next a trust or every artificial judicial person not falling above. Okay, next a recipient of supply of goods and obligatory services means where a consideration is payable for the supply of goods or services or both, the person who is liable to pay that consideration. B point A, where no consideration is payable for the supply of goods, the person to whom the goods are delivered or made available or to whom possession of use of goods or is given or made available. C point A, where no consideration is payable for the supply of services, the person to whom the service is rendered. And any reference to a person to whom a supply is made shall be construed as a reference to the recipient of supply and shall include an agent acting as such on behalf of the recipient in relation to the goods or services or both supplied. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट है कंसेप्ट ऑफ सप्लाई. सेक्शन 7 ऑफ सीजीएसटी एक्ट में सप्लाई की डेफिनेशन पूरा दिया गया है, डिटेल में प्रोविजन दी गई है. द कंसेप्ट ऑफ सप्लाई इज द की स्टोन ऑफ द जीएसटी आर्किटेक्चर. The provisions relating to meaning and scope of supply are contained in Chapter 3 of CGST Act. read with various schedules given under the said act. Following sections and the schedules shall be discussed in this chapter to understand the concept of supply. Section 7, meaning and scope of supply. Section 8, taxability of composite and mixed supply. Schedule 1, activities to be treated as a supply even if made without consideration. Schedule 2, activities or transaction to be treated as a supply of goods or as a supply of services. Schedule 3, activities or a transaction which shall be treated neither as a supply of goods nor supply of services. Next is section 7, meaning and scope of supply. Supply includes all forms of supply of goods or services or both, such as a sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, rental, lease or disposal made or agreed to be made for the consideration by a person in the course or furtherance of business. Importation of services for a consideration whether or not in the course or furtherance of business, and activities specified in Schedule 1 made or agreed to be made without a consideration. Subsection 1A क्या होता है? Where certain activities or a transaction constitute supply in accordance with the provisions of this subsection 1, they shall be treated either as a supply of goods or supply of services. Next section, subsection 2. Notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1, activities or transactions specified in Schedule 3. Schedule 3 are such activities or transactions undertaken by the central government or state government or any local authority in which they are engaged as a public authorities as may be notified by the government on the recommendations of the council, shall be treated neither as a supply of goods nor supply of services. Okay. Subsection 3. Subject to subsection 1A to the government may on the recommendation of the council specify by notification the transactions that are to be treated as a supply of goods and not a supply of services, or a supply of services and not as a supply of goods. Next, analysis. The definition of supply as contained in section 7 of CGST Act is an inclusive definition and does not define the term exhaustively. It defines the scope of supply in the inclusive manner. State the supply of, but the list is not exhaustive. This is substantiated by the use of words such as in the definition. Provisions of scope of supply under CGST Act have also been made applicable to the IGST Act via section 20 of the IGST Act. The meaning and scope of supply in terms of section 7 can be understood in terms of the following parameters. Supply should be of goods or services. Supply of anything other than goods or services like money, securities, etc. does not attract GST. Supply, money, securities and not supply. Supply should be made for a consideration. Third point, supply should be made in the course or furtherance of business. Next, aforesaid parameters describe the concept of supply. However, there are a few exceptions to second and third parameters. The requirements of supply being made for a consideration and in the course or furtherance of business in the GST law. A few exceptions have been curved out where the transaction is deemed to be a supply even without consideration. Next, similarly, the condition of supply to be made in the course or furtherance of business has been relaxed in case of import of services. Import of services for a consideration whether or not in the course or furtherance of business is treated as a supply. Further, there are also cases where a transaction is kept out of a scope of supply despite the existence of the above parameters. That is, there is a list of activities which are treated neither as a supply of goods nor supply of services. In other words, they are outside the scope of GST. GST law has classified certain activities or transactions either as a supply of goods or a supply of services. Government is also empowered to notify transactions that are to be treated as a supply of goods or not as a supply of services, or as a supply of services and not as a supply of goods. In the consequent paras, the above aspects of the supply have been extensively discussed. The discussion has been broadly categorized into following categories. Supply includes and supply exclusive. Include क्या होता है supply में? Supply for consideration in the course or furtherance of business, and supply includes importation of services for consideration whether or not in the course or furtherance of business. Supply without consideration. Section 7(1)(c) plus Schedule 1 excludes negative list plus Schedule 3 exclude किया जाता है negative list and Schedule 3. Activities to be treated as a supply of goods or supply of services. 7(1)(a) Schedule 2. Supply for consideration in the course or furtherance of business. Supply should be of goods or services or both. The definition of supply begins with the term supply includes, thus making it clear that the CGST Act intends to give an extensive meaning to the term a supply. Supply includes all forms of supply of goods or services or both. Supply of anything other than the goods or services does not enter GST. The term goods and services as defined under the Act have been analyzed by the way of a diagram on next page. Anything supplied other than the goods and services is outside the scope of supply. The first part of section 7 includes all forms of supply of goods or services or both, such as sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, rental, lease or disposal, made or agreed to be made for consideration in the course or furtherance of business. ऐसा कुछ है तो सप्लाई में आ जाएगा. सप्लाई इंक्लूड सेल, ट्रांसफर, बार्टर, एक्सचेंज, लाइसेंस, रेंटल, लीज, डिस्पोजल. ये सब फॉर कंसिडरेशन है तो फॉर कंसिडरेशन चाहिए एंड इन द कोर्स और फर्दरेंस ऑफ बिजनेस में चाहिए तो ही इसको एप्लीकेबल हो जाएगा. Thus, the forms of supply as contemplated in this first part have two prerequisites. The supply should be for consideration and the supply should be in the course or furtherance of business. And goods means and services means. Goods means every kind of movable property and services means anything other than the goods. Exclude किया गया है money and securities. And include किया गया है actionable claims, growing crops, grass and things attached to or forming part of the land which are agreed to be severed before supply or under the contract of supply. Includes activities relating to use of money or a conversion of money by cash or by any other mode from one form currency denomination or to another for which separate consideration charge. The first part of section 7 includes all forms of supply of goods or services or both, such as sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, rental, lease or disposal, made or agreed to be made for consideration in the course or furtherance of business. Supply includes all forms of supply, such as sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, rental, lease, disposal, for consideration in the course or furtherance of business. Thus, the forms of supply as contemplated in this first part have two prerequisites. The supply should be for consideration and the supply should be in the course or furtherance of business. We shall now discuss the various forms of supply as illustrated in section 7(1)(a). Supply includes all forms of supply. Various forms of supply contemplated in section 7(1)(a) are sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, rental, lease or disposal. These forms of supply are only illustrative and not exhaustive. However, none of these terms have been defined under the Act. In order to understand their meaning, we have taken recourse to their dictionary meaning or otherwise and have explained them as follows. Sale and transfer. Sale and transfer मतलब क्या होता है? The dictionary meaning of the term sale is the act of the selling, specifically the transfer of ownership of and title to property from one person to another for a price. As per the Sale of Goods Act 1930, a contract of sale of goods is a contract whereby the seller transfers or agrees to transfer the property in goods or buyer for a price. Further, the term transfer has been defined in the Black's Law Dictionary as to convey or remove from one place to another person, pass or hand over from one to another, specifically to make over the possession or control of. Okay. Next है barter and exchange. Barter and exchange का meaning क्या है? The dictionary meaning of term barter is to exchange goods or services for other goods or services instead of using monies. While barter deals with a transaction which only includes an exchange of goods or services. Exchange may cover a situation where the goods are paid for partly in goods and partly in money. When there is a barter of goods or services, the same activity constitutes a supply as well as a consideration. Next is license, lease, rental and disposal. The dictionary meaning of the term license is a permission granted by a competent authority to engage in a business or occupation or in an activity otherwise unlawful. Black's Law Dictionary defines the disposal as the sale, pledge, giving away, use, consumption or any other composition of thing. The dictionary meaning of a rental is an arrangement to rent something or the amount of money that you pay to rent something. And that of lease is to make a legal agreement by which money is paid in order to use land or building, a vehicle or a piece of equipment for an agreed period of time. Under GST regime, such licenses, leases and rentals of goods with or without transfer of right to use are covered under the supply of services because there is no transfer of title in such supplies. Such transactions are specifically treated as a supply of services in Schedule 2 of the GST Act. Next point, supply should be for consideration. The dictionary meaning of word consideration is a payment. Consideration need not always be in the form of money. It can be in money or in kind. It covers anything which might be possibly done, given or made in exchange for the something else. Further, consideration need not always flow from the recipient of the supply. It can also be made by a third person. However, any subsidy given by the central government or state government is not consideration. Not considered as consideration. A deposit given in the respect of the supply of a goods or services or both shall not be considered as a payment made for such a supply unless the supplier applies such a deposit as a consideration for the said supply. The term consideration is defined under section 2 subsection 31 of the CGST Act. Okay, let us examine the existence of consideration. Next, supply should be for consideration. The dictionary meaning of word consideration is payment. Consideration need not always be in the form of money. It can be money or kind. It covers anything which might be possibly done, given or made in exchange for the something else. Further, a consideration need not always flow from one recipient of the supply. It can also be made by a third person. However, any subsidy given by the central government or state government is not a consideration. A deposit given in respect of the supply of goods or services or both shall not be considered as a payment made for such a supply unless the supplier applies such a deposit as a consideration for the said supply. The term consideration is defined under section 231 of the CGST Act. The said definition has been depicted in the form of a diagram on next page. Let us examine the existence of consideration in the following two scenarios. पहला है donation received by charitable institution from individual donors without quid pro quo, something for something. Artwork sent by the artist to galleries for exhibition. Next, consideration payment in money or otherwise for supply. त्याच्यामध्ये deposit to be उसमें है deposit to be considered as a payment and monetary value of any kind or forbearance for the supply by recipient or any other person. Only payment deposit to be considered as a payment only when the supplier applies such a deposit as a consideration for the said supply and by the recipient or any other person, excluding subsidy given by the central or state government. अब इसमें का एक पहला पॉइंट एक इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट है डोनेशन रिसीव्ड बाय चैरिटेबल इंस्टीट्यूशन फ्रॉम द इंडिविजुअल डोनर्स विदाउट क्वाइड प्रो क्यू. An important feature of consideration is a quid pro quo, something for something. Donation received by the charitable organization are treated as a consideration only if there exists quid pro quo. That is, there is an obligation on part of the recipient of the donation or gift to do anything supply a service. Generally, institutions such as religious institution, charitable organizations, schools, hospitals, orphanages, old age homes, etc. receive financial help or any other support in the form of donation or gift from the individual donors in order to express the gratitude towards such a help or support. The recipient institution places a nameplate or a similar such a acknowledgement in their premises. When the name of the donor is displayed in the recipient institution's premises in such a manner which can be said to be an expression of the gratitude and public recognition of a donation. Donors act of philanthropy and is not aimed at giving publicity to the donor in such a manner that it would be an advertising or promotion of his business. Then it can be said that there is no supply of a service for consideration in the form of donation. In other words, there is no obligation quid pro quo on the part of recipient of the donation or gift to do anything, supply as a service. Therefore, there is no GST liability on such a consideration. Some examples of cases where there may be supply. It may be noticed that there is no reference or a mention of any business activity of the donor which otherwise would have got advertised. Thus, GST is not allowable where the following three cumulative conditions are satisfied, namely, gift or donation is made to a charitable organization. Payment has the character of gift or donation. Purpose is philanthropic, that is, it leads to no commercial gain and not advertisement. Second point, artwork sent by artists to galleries for exhibition is not a supply as no consideration flows from the gallery to the artist. Artists give their work of art to galleries where it is exhibited for supply. However, no consideration. No consideration flows from the gallery to the artist when the artwork are sent to the gallery for exhibition and therefore the same is not supply. It is only when a buyer selects a particular artwork displayed at the gallery that the actual supply takes place and applicable GST would be payable at the time of such supply. Any transaction involving supply of goods and or services without consideration is not a supply unless it is deemed to be a supply under law in Schedule 1 of CGST Act. Another parameter to qualify as a supply of goods and or services is that a supply is made in a course or for furtherance of business. This parameter has been explained in the following paras. Supply should be in the course or furtherance of business. GST is essentially a tax only on commercial transaction. Hence, only those supplies that are in the course or furtherance of business qualifies as a supply under GST. Resultantly, any supplies made by an individual in his personal capacity do not come under the ambit of GST unless they fall within the definition of the business. Meaning of supply made in the course or furtherance of business. Any activity undertaken in the course or furtherance of business would constitute a supply. In order to understand the term in the course or furtherance of business, we need to first understand the term business as defined under section 217. The CGST Act inter alia includes any trade, commerce, manufacture, profession, vacation, etc., whether or not undertaken for a monetary benefit. The definition of business has been summarized in the diagram below. Business includes any trade, commerce, manufacture, profession, etc., even if there is no money benefit. Any activity incidental or ancillary to it, or any activity of the same nature, even if no volume continuity. Next point, supply or acquisition of goods, including capital goods and services, in connection with the commencement or closure of the business. Provision of facilities by club or association, etc., to its members for consideration. Admission for consideration to any premises. Services as holder of office, accepted in the course or furtherance of trade, profession. Next point, activities of a race club, including by way of total star or a license to bookmaker or activities of a licensed bookmaker in such a club. Any activity by government or local authority as a public authorities. Thus, the business includes any activity or transaction which is incidental or ancillary to any trade, commerce, manufacture, profession, vacation, adventure, wager, bet or any other similar activity. In addition, any activity undertaken by the central government or state government or any local authority in which they are engaged as a public authority shall also be constituted as a business. For any trade, commerce or any other similar activity to qualify as a business, frequency, volume, continuity or regularity of such a transaction is not a prerequisite. Some of the examples of supply made or not made in the course or furtherance of business are as follows. Rishabh buys a car for his personal use and after he sells it to a car dealer. Okay. Next, the view taken in above two examples is based on the view taken in the departmental FAQs press release. Since business includes vacation, therefore sale of goods or services as a vacation is also a supply under GST. Services provided by the club or association to its members for consideration is a supply. Next, admission of a persons to any premises for consideration is also included in business. Next point. After understanding the basic concept of supply, let us now examine the taxability of a few transactions. Taxability काय सांगितले? When an oil exploration and production contractor gets a license or lease to explore or mine the petroleum crude and or natural gas from the government, it enters into a production sharing contract (PSC) with the government is not that of a partners but that of licensor, lessor and licensee lessee. As per these PSCs, when a contractor discovers oil or gas, he is at first entitled to recover the contract cost, expenses incurred in exploration, development, production and payment of royalty involved in the extraction of oil, gas from the total sales proceeds, and thereafter he is expected to share with the government the profit from his venture known as a profit petroleum as per the PSCs. The value of petroleum which the contractor is entitled to take in a year for recovery of the contract cost is called the cost of petroleum. Further, the total value of petroleum produced and saved from the contract area in a particular period as reduced by cost petroleum is called the profit petroleum. The government share of profit petroleum, which is consideration paid by the contractor to the central government for the service of grant of license or lease to explore or mine petroleum crude and or natural gas, is exempt from GST. The cost petroleum is not a consideration received by the contractor for the services provided to government and thus not taxable per se. The reason for the same is that the contractors carry exploration and production of a petroleum for themselves and not as a service to government. They had acquired the right to explore, exploit and sell petroleum in lieu of the royalty and a share in a profit of petroleum. Financial transactions. Banks and financial institutions provide a bucket of financial services relating to lending or borrowing of money or investment in money and other related services. For such services, invariably a variety of instruments are used in the financial markets. In the following paras, we have examined whether transaction in such instruments qualify as a supply. As seen earlier, the definition of goods and services specifically excludes both money and securities. The definition of money includes instruments like check, draft, pay order, promissory notes, letter of credit, etc. Therefore, the activities that are only transactions in such instruments would be outside the definition of service. Money would also include transactions in commercial paper and certificate of deposit, as they are in the nature of promissory notes, issuance of drafts or letters of credit, etc. While these transactions would be outside the ambit of supply, the related activities for which a separate consideration is charged would be chargeable to GST if other elements of taxability are present. Therefore, GST would be levied on service charges normally charged for various transactions in money, including charges for making draft, issuance charges for letter of credit, etc. The term securities shall have the same meaning as assigned to it in the clause Section 2 of Securities Contract Regulation Act. Next, in this regard, there may arise a doubt as to whether a derivative transaction को कैसे treat करना चाहिए और उसे GST में क्या liability आती है उसकी provisions क्या देखना चाहिए. Derivative is included within the meaning of securities above and whether the derivatives are liable to GST. Derivatives are included in the definition of securities under SICRA. As derivatives fall in the definition of securities, they are neither goods nor services and hence are not liable to GST. Next, meaning of future contracts. Meaning of future contracts क्या बोला है? These contracts are in the nature of financial derivatives, the price of which is dependent on the value of the underlying stocks or index of the stocks or certain approved currencies, and the settlement happens normally by way of the settlement with no actual delivery. Okay, इसमें delivery वगैरह actual नहीं होती है, इसलिए उसे future contract बोला जाता है. GST implication on future contract. तो future contract पे GST का implication क्या होगा क्या नहीं देखना चाहिए. Since future contracts are in the nature of derivatives, these qualify as a securities and thus are not subject to GST. However, where the future contracts have the delivery option and the settlement of contract takes place by way of actual delivery of underlying commodity or a currency, then such a forward contracts would be treated as a normal supply of goods and liable to GST. Meaning of forward contracts. A forward contract is an agreement executed to purchase or sell a predetermined amount of commodity or currency at a predetermined future date at a predetermined price. The settlement could be by way of actual delivery of underlying commodity or currency, or by way of net settlement of differential of the forward rate over the prevailing market rate on the settlement date. नेक्स्ट है जीएसटी इम्प्लीकेशन ऑन फॉरवर्ड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स. उसमें क्या बोला गया है, वेयर द सेटलमेंट टेक्स प्लेस बाय वे ऑफ एक्चुअल डिलीवरी ऑफ अंडरलाइंग कमोडिटी और करेंसी, then such a forward contracts would be treated as a normal supply of goods and liable to GST. Where the settlement takes place by way of net settlement of differential of the forward rate over the prevailing market rate on the settlement date, the same would be falling within the purview of securities and thus are not chargeable to GST. Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, has prescribed the Securities Lending Scheme 1997, hereafter referred to as SLS, for the purpose of facilitating lending and borrowing of securities. The security lending mechanism is depicted in the diagram below. Lender, securities, approved intermediaries or borrower. In the above diagram, lender is a person who deposits the securities registered in his name or in the name of any other person duly authorized on his behalf with an approved intermediary for the purpose of lending under the scheme. Second point, borrower is a person who borrows the securities under the scheme through an approved intermediary. And third point, approved intermediary is a person duly registered by the SEBI under the SLS, through whom the lender will deposit the securities for lending and the borrower will borrow the securities. Under this scheme, lender of securities lends securities through an approved intermediary to a borrower under an agreement temporarily for a specified period. The lenders earn lending fees for lending their securities to the borrowers. Securities are lent with a condition that the borrower will return equivalent securities of the same type or class at the end of the specified period, along with the corporate benefits accruing on the securities borrowed. The borrower of the securities can further sell or buy these securities. In order to lend securities under SLS, lender enters into an agreement with the approved intermediaries, and for the purpose of borrowing of securities, the borrower enters into an agreement with the approved intermediary. Thus, there is no direct agreement between the lender and the borrower for the lending or borrowing the securities, and there is an anonymity in between them. The transaction takes place through an electronic screen-based order matching mechanism provided by the recognized stock exchange in India. As seen earlier in this chapter, securities are neither covered in the definition of the goods nor covered in the definition of services. Therefore, a transaction in securities which involves disposal of securities is not a supply in GST and hence not taxable. The SLS doesn't treat lending of securities as a disposal of securities and therefore is not excluded from the definition of services. Lending fees charged from the borrowers of the securities has the character of a consideration and is taxable under GST. Apart from above, the activities of the intermediaries facilitating lending and borrowing of securities for the commission or a fee are also taxable separately. Next, GST implication on secured debt. Sale, purchase or acquisition or assignment of a secured debt does not constitute a transaction in money. It is in the nature of derivative and hence a security. Next point, GST implications on transaction in instruments. Transaction in instruments like interest rate swaps and foreign exchange swaps would be excluded from the definition of supply, since such instruments are derivatives, being securities based on contracts of difference. However, it is important to note that if some service charges or service fees or documentation fees or broking charges or such like fees or charges are charged on the derivatives, future contracts or forward contracts, the same would be a consideration for provision of service and subject to GST. Next point, GST implications on services by way of extending deposits, loans or advances. Services by way of extending deposits, loans or advances insofar as the consideration is represented by way of interest or discount is exempt from the levy of GST. In the subsequent paras, we have discussed the exceptions to the two parameters of supply, namely supply made for consideration but not in the course or furtherance of business, and supply made without consideration. Next point, importation of services for consideration whether or not in the course or furtherance of business. Connotation, of supply gets expanded significantly through the second part of the section 7, which brings within the ambit of supply the importation of services for consideration whether or not in the course or furtherance of business. This is the only exception to the condition of supply being made in the course or furtherance of business. Next point, statutory provisions about activities without consideration is a deemed supply. Point 1. Permanent transfer or disposal of business assets, where input tax credit has been availed on such assets. Second point, supply of goods or services or both between related persons or between distinct persons as specified in section 25 when made in the course or furtherance of business, provided that the gift not exceeding 50,000 rupees in value in a financial year by an employer to the employee shall not be treated as a supply of goods or services or both. Third point, supply of goods by a principal to his agent, where the agent undertakes to supply such goods on behalf of the principal, or B point, by an agent to his principal, where the agent undertakes to receive such goods on behalf of the principal. Fourth point, import of services by a person from a related person or from any of his other establishment outside India in the course or furtherance of business. Next point, analysis. There are instances where an activity or transaction is treated as a supply even if the same is made without consideration. These are specifically mentioned in Schedule 1 appended to the CGST Act. The same has been discussed in the subsequent paras. In the pre-GST regime, in every tax statute, consideration played the most important role for levying taxes. For instance, if any service was provided for free to a person, such a service was not subject to service tax. However, under GST, the importance of consideration has been diluted in certain cases. This is an important departure from the earlier indirect tax regime. As per Schedule 1, in the following 4 cases, activities made without consideration will be treated as a supply under Section 7 of CGST Act. First point, permanent transfer or disposal of business assets. Para 1 of Schedule 1. Any kind of disposal or a transfer of business assets made by an entity on a permanent basis, even though without consideration, qualifies as a supply. उसे supply बोला जाएगा. However, it is important to note that this provision would apply only if input tax credit has been availed on such assets. Therefore, in order to qualify as a supply under this para, following conditions need to be satisfied cumulatively. There must be disposal or transfer of business assets. Second point, transfer or disposal must be permanent. And third point, ITC must have been availed on such a business assets. ये सब देखना बहुत जरूरी है. In view of the last condition stipulated above, permanent transfer or disposal of a following business assets without consideration will not be covered within this para and thus will not be deemed as a supply. First point, business assets on which ITC is blocked are not available under GST. The business assets too eligible for ITC or ITC has not been included in this chapter. The important note that the term business asset has not been defined under this chapter under the law. Next, second point, supply between related person or distinct persons. Okay. Para 2 of Schedule 1, supply of goods or services or both between related person or between distinct persons. ये भी देखा जाएगा. Next, related persons. Next is related person. Related person means a person who is under influence of another person is called a related person, like members of the same family or subsidiaries of a group, company, etc. Under GST law, various categories of related persons have been specified. The term related person has been defined in the explanation of section 15. The said definition has been depicted by way of diagram as follows. डायग्राम वगैरह दिया गया है. उसमें बोला है कि persons including legal person are deemed as a related person if such persons are officers or directors of one another's business. Such persons are legally recognized partners, or such persons are employer and employee. A third person controls, owns or holds directly or indirectly more than equal to 25% voting stocks or shares of both of them. One of them controls directly indirectly the other. A third person controls directly indirectly both of them. Such persons together control directly indirectly a third person. Such persons are members of the same family. One of them is the sole agent or sole distributor or sole concessionaires of the other. Distinct persons specified under section 25. Before we go through the statutory provisions, of a distinct persons. Let us first have an overview of the registration provisions for better understanding of the concept of a distinct persons. Detailed and in-depth analysis of the registration provisions is contained in Chapter 9 Registration. Under GST law, a supplier is required to obtain state-wise registration. He has to obtain registration in every state or union territory from where he makes a taxable supply provided his aggregate turnover exceeds a specified threshold limit. Thus, he is not required to obtain the registration from state or union territory from where he makes a non-taxable supply. Since registration in GST is a PAN-based, once the supplier is liable to register, he has to obtain registration in each of the states or union territories in which he operates and makes a taxable supply under the same PAN. Further, he is normally required to obtain the single registration in a state or union territory. However, where he has multiple places of business in a state or a union territory, he has the option either to get a single registration for the state or union territory or to get a separate registrations for each place of business in such a state or union territory. Now let us understand the concept of a distinct persons in simple formats. The establishments of a person with a separate registration, whether within the same state or union territory or in different states or union territories, are considered as a distinct person. Where a person having one registered establishment in a state or union territory has another establishment in a different states or union territory, not necessarily registered. These establishments are considered as an establishment of a distinct person. Statutory provisions relating to distinct persons are contained in the subsection 4 and 5 of the section 25. A person who has obtained or is required to obtain the more than one registration, whether in one state or union territory, or more than one state or union territory, shall in respect of each of such a registration be treated as a distinct persons. Okay, further, where a person who has obtained or is required to obtain a registration in a state or union territory in respect of an establishment has an establishment in another state or union territory, then such a establishment shall be treated as an establishment of distinct persons. फर्दर एक्सप्लेनेशन दिया गया है 1 नंबर का टू सेक्शन 8 of IGST Act stipulate that the establishment of the same entity shall be considered as a establishment of distinct persons, where a person has an establishment in India and any other establishment outside India. Second point, an establishment in a state or union territory and any other establishment outside that state or union territory. और third point है an establishment in a state or union territory and any other establishment within that state or union territory. Stock transfers or branch transfers qualify as a supply. It is a common practice in business that one branch supplies services to another branch of same entity without consideration. Thus, similarly, goods are transferred among the different units of same entity free of cost. For instance, distribution of samples manufactured in a factory to different branches or transfer of goods from factory to depot or showroom for sale therefrom from one warehouse to another warehouse, from one branch to another branch where the demand of the goods is higher. These transactions are termed as self-supplies. Under GST, these transactions undertaken even without consideration will also qualify as a supply, provided the transfer of goods or services is between, first point, different locations with the separate GST registration of same legal entity, as these are transactions between distinct persons or establishment of a distinct person. Next point, however, transfer between two units of a legal entity under single registration apparently within the same state will not be considered as a supply. This can be understood with the help of the following examples. Examples वगैरह दी गए हैं, उसके हिसाब से क्या किया जाएगा. However, in case of molds and dies owned by original equipment manufacturer (OEM) that are sold free of cost to a component manufacturer in course or in the course or furtherance of business do not constitute supply, since they are not related persons or distinct persons and there is no consideration involved. Next point is supply of goods or services or both between an employer and employee. In terms of the definition related person given above, employer and employee are related persons. Employer and employer related persons. However, services provided by the employee to the employer in the course of or in the relation to the employment are not treated as a supply. As per Schedule 2 of as per Schedule 3 of CGST Act. Next point is gift by employer to employee. Further proviso to para 2 of Schedule 1 provides that gift up to rupees 50,000 in a value in a financial year by an employer to an employee shall not be treated as a supply of goods or services or both. However, gift of value more than rupees 50,000 made without consideration or supply and are subject to GST when made in the course or furtherance of business. What constitutes a gift? The term gift has not been defined in the GST law. In common parlance, gift is made without consideration, is voluntary in nature and is made occasionally. It cannot be demanded as a matter of right by the employee, and the employee cannot move a court of law for obtaining a gift. Next one, purchases by employer to employee. As already discussed, that the services by an employee to the employer in the course of or in relation to his employment is outside the scope of GST, neither supply of goods nor supply of services. It follows therefrom that payment is made by employer to employee in terms of contractual agreement entered into between the employer and the employee will not be subjected to GST. Ministry of Finance has clarified in the press release on 10th July 2017 that if the services such as membership of a club, health and fitness center, etc. are provided free of charge to all the employees by the employer, the same will not subjected to GST. The same would hold true for free housing to the employees when the same is provided in terms of the contract between the employer and the employee and is part and parcel of the cost to the company. Next point, principal agent transaction. Principal agent, para 3 of Schedule 1, supply of goods by the principal to his agent without consideration, where the agent undertakes to supply such goods on behalf of the principal is considered as a supply. Similarly, supply of goods by an agent to his principal without consideration, where the agent undertakes to receive such goods on behalf of the principal is considered as a supply. Point which merit consideration in this regard are as follows. Only supply of goods and not supply of services is covered here. Supply of goods between the principal and agent without consideration is also supply. Thus, the supply of services between the principal and agent and vice versa would therefore require consideration to be considered as a supply and thus to be liable to GST. Let us first go to the meaning of terms principal and agent. Section 2(5) defines the agent as a person, including a factor, broker, commission agent, RPA, deal credit agent, an auctioneer or any other mercantile agent by whatever name called, who carries on the business of a supply or receipt of services of both on behalf of another. Mercantile agent, RPA, deal credit agent, an auctioneer or any other mercantile agent by whatever name called, who carries on the business of a supply or receipt of goods or services or both on behalf of another. As we can deduce from this definition of agent that the term agent is defined in terms of the various activities being carried out by the person concerned in the principal-agent relationship, and supply or receipt of the goods or services has to be undertaken by the agent on behalf of the principal. Further, the term principal has been defined under Section 2, subsection 88 as a person on whose behalf an agent carries on the business of a supply or receipt of goods or services or both. In order to determine whether a particular principal-agent relationship falls within the ambit of the para 3 of Schedule 1 as discussed above or not, the deciding factor is whether the invoice for the further supply of goods on behalf of the principal is being issued by the agent or not. In other words, the crucial point is whether or not the agent has the authority to pass or receive the title of the goods on behalf of the principal, where the invoice for further supply is being issued by the agent in his name. Then any provision of goods from the principal to agent would fall within the definition of in the para 3. Invoice for further supply to customer be issued in the agent's name. However, where the invoice is issued by the agent to the customer in the name of the principal, such agent shall not fall within the ambit of para 3 above. Similarly, where the goods being procured by the agent on behalf of the principal are invoiced in the name of the agent, then further provision of the said goods by the agent to the principal would be covered by para 3 above. Okay, goods procured on behalf of the principal are invoiced in the agent's name. The above clarification can be understood with the help of following scenario-based examples. Okay, next point. Clarification issues pertaining to their credit agent. A question was posed by the industry whether supply between a principal and a their credit agent would also get covered under Schedule 1. The government clarified the doubt of the industry by way of following clarification. Before going through the clarification, let us first understand that what is meant by a deal credit agent. In commercial trade parlance, a deal credit agent is a selling agent who is engaged by a principal to assist in supply of goods or services by conducting potential buyers on behalf of the principal. The factor that differentiates a deal credit agent from other agents is that the deal credit agent guarantees the payment to the supplier. In such a scenario, where the buyer fails to make payment to the principal by the due date, their credit agent makes the payment to the principal on behalf of the buyer, effectively providing an insurance against a default by the buyer. And for this reason, the commission paid to a deal credit agent may be relatively higher than that paid to a normal agent. In order to guarantee timely payment to the supplier, the deal credit agent can resort to various methods, including extending short-term transaction-based loans to the buyer, or paying the supplier himself and recovering the amount from the buyer with some interest at a later date. This loan is to be repaid by the buyer along with an interest to the deal credit agent at a rate mutually agreed between the deal credit agent and buyer. Next point, whether a deal credit agent falls under the ambit of the agent under para 3 of Schedule 1 of the CGST Act. As in case where the invoice for supply of goods is issued by the supplier to the customer either himself or through deal credit agent does not fall under the ambit of the agent. In case where the invoice for supply of goods is issued by the deal credit agent in his own name, the deal credit agent would fall under the ambit of the agent. Whether the temporary short-term transaction-based loan extended by the deal credit agent to the recipient buyer for which interest is charged by the deal credit agent is to be included in the value of goods being supplied by the supplier principal where the deal credit agent is not an agent under para 3 of Schedule 1 of the CGST Act. Then in such a scenario, following activities are taking place: supply of goods from the supplier principal to recipient, supply of agency services from deal credit agent to the supplier or the recipient or both, supply of extension of a loan services by the deal credit agent to the recipient. It is clarified that in case where the deal credit agent is not an agent under para 3 of Schedule 1 of the CGST Act, the temporary short-term transaction-based loan being provided by the deal credit agent to the buyer is a supply of services by the deal credit agent to the recipient on principal-to-principal basis and is an independent supply. And therefore, the interest being charged by the deal credit agent would not form part of the value of the supply of goods supplied to the buyer by the supplier. Next point, where a deal credit agent is an agent under the para 3 of Schedule 1 of the CGST Act and makes the payment to the. In such a scenario, following activities are taking place: supply of goods by the supplier principal to the deal credit agent, further supply of goods by the deal credit agent to the recipient, supply of agency services by the deal credit agent to the supplier or the recipient or both, extension of credit by the deal credit agent to the recipient. It is clarified that in case where the deal credit agent is an agent under para 3 of Schedule 1 of the CGST Act, the temporary short-term transaction-based credit being provided by the deal credit agent to the buyer no longer retain its character of an independent supply and is subsumed in the supply of the goods by the deal credit agent to the recipient. It is emphasized that the activity of the extension of credit by the deal credit agent to the recipient would not be considered as a separate supply as it is in the context of the supply of goods made by the deal credit agent to the recipient. It is further clarified that the value of the interest charged for such a credit would be required to be included in the value of the supply of goods by the deal credit agent to the recipient as per section 15 subsection 2D of the CGST. Next point, importation of services. Para 4 of Schedule 1. Import of services by a person from a related person or from his establishment located outside India without consideration in the course or furtherance of business shall be treated as a supply. Okay, next point is clarification on sales promotion schemes. A number of sales promotion schemes are commonly employed by the business to increase sales volume or to encourage the use or trial of the product or service so that new customers get attracted towards their products. For instance, certain sections of trade and industry such as pharmaceutical companies often provide drug samples to their stockists, dealers, medical practitioners, etc. Or sometimes companies announces offers like buy one get one free, buy one soap and get one soap free, or get one toothbrush free along with the purchase of a toothpaste. As we have already seen that as per section 7 subsection 1a, the goods or services which are supplied free of cost without any consideration shall not be treated as a supply, except in case activities mentioned in schedule 1 of the CGST Act. In view of the same, few sales promotion schemes have been examined as under. Next chapter is next point is free samples and gifts. Samples which are supplied free of cost without any consideration do not qualify as a supply under GST, except where the activity falls within the ambit of Schedule 1 of the CGST. Buy one get one free offer. What is this offer? It may appear at the first glance. Next point, buy one get one free offer. It may appear at the first glance that in case of offer like buy one get one free, one item is being supplied free of cost without any consideration. In fact, it is not a individual supply of free goods, but in case two or more individual supplies, where a single price is being charged for the entire supply, it can get best to be treated as a supplying to goods for the price of one. Taxability of such supply will be dependent upon as to whether the supply is a composite supply or a mixed supply, and the rate of tax shall be determined accordingly. Concept of composite and mixed supply has been discussed hereafter. Next, activities transactions to be treated as a supply of goods or supply of services. Section 7(1) of the CGST Act classifies certain activities or transactions constituting the supply, either as a supply of goods or supply of services. Schedule 2 of the CGST Act contains the list of activities or transactions which have been classified either as a supply of goods or supply of services. This helps the mitigating the ambiguities which listed in earlier clause. Next point is matters listed out in Schedule 2 are primarily those which had been entangled in the litigation in the earlier regime, owing to their complex nature and scalability, double taxation. Transfer म्हणजे काय? Any transfer of title goods. शिवाजी फेल स्टडी मेड गारमेंट्स टू इट्स कस्टमर्सला दिलेलं नाही आहे, दिए गए नहीं है. Any transfer of right in goods or undivided share in goods without transfer of title in goods, supply of services. Any transfer of a title in goods under the agreement which stipulates that property shall pass at a future date upon payment of full consideration as regards supply of goods. Next point, any lease tenancy easement license to occupy land, lease agreement for land. This is supply of services. इसे supply of services कहा जाएगा. Next point, any lease or letting out property, building.